On Saturday, the Biden administration finalized a rule aimed at reducing methane emissions, meaning oil and gas operators in Texas will have to heavily reduce how much methane is released from their equipments out in oil fields, for example. Here to talk a little bit more about this, we have Texas A&M professor Gunnar Schade, who is an expert in air pollution and trace gases. And Professor, thanks for joining us. Let me first begin by helping our viewers to understand what we're talking about. Reducing methane that is released into our atmosphere. Methane and carbon dioxide are greenhouse gases that can contribute to climate change. Is methane worse than carbon dioxide, and what exactly does it do when it goes into the atmosphere?
Methane is the most basic hydrocarbon that is produced by the industry. It's also the dominant compound in natural gas that goes to our homes, for example. It is about 80 times as strong as carbon dioxide as a greenhouse gas on a pound per pound basis in the first 20 years after its release into the atmosphere. So reducing methane can make huge strides in reducing global warming.
And by targeting methane, you say that it's something that we can see the effects of that reduction in what, couple of decades versus centuries with carbon dioxide?
Exactly. So if we are able to reduce our methane emissions by as much as the Biden administration is hoping for, we can see changes from that in our lifetime.
Sooner than?
Much sooner than for carbon dioxide, which stays in the atmosphere for hundreds of years.
Gotcha. So with these new rules and them to take effect, I don't know, what do they take effect immediately, or we're going to see challenges coming out of this?
The rule theoretically takes effect immediately. Okay. However, it is phased in 2 steps, either within 1 year for certain provisions or within 2 years for other provisions. However, it's likely that it will be challenged either by states or by industry in court, and that is a normal thing that happens with EPA all the time. We don't know yet how that challenge is going to play out.
When we talk about reducing methane emissions at oil and gas sites, what exactly is it that they would do differently than what they're doing right now?
Yeah, that's very important. Basically, the industry knows already what to do, but it has to invest in these activities. One is essentially leak detection and repair, which means you have to send out people to check on where leaks may occur, or you have to place equipment onto your individual production sites that measures methane and tries to determine that way if you have leaks. Another method that industry is already using is hiring other companies that fly aircraft over the oil field and look down with instrumentation to determine if methane is emitted from activities at the ground. All of this has been very successful, so all the technologies are already there to reduce emissions. They just have to be implemented. And in the end, they actually pay off, because what doesn't go in the atmosphere ends up in the pipeline and serves the consumer.
So why don't these industries do it already? Is it a cost thing?
It is initially a cost thing, right? You have to initially invest some money in those activities, but they're not paying off in the short term, right? They pay off over several years.
Gotcha. When we talk about the new regulations being implemented by the Environmental Protection Agency, how does this compare to other nations? Are other nations falling in line with what we're doing, or are they already doing it?
That varies widely all over the globe. Yeah. We don't have control over what Russia does, for example, sure. What Saudi Arabia does. But oil is also not produced in the same way in these countries. So conventional production, for example, where there's one large facility where oil is pumped out of the ground, there's less equipment on site as compared to how we currently produce oil and gas through the so-called fracking process, which creates hundreds and hundreds of individual sites. which are very difficult to oversee compared to one large site.
Gotcha. So it is a step to make improvements, but challenges are to be seen with it, so we may not see it immediately. All right, Professor, thank you so much. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you for helping us to understand this.